Howdy everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Ask a Muso podcast, brought to you by Jim's Cleaning, Butterham South. Very excited for this week's episode. My guest on the other end is a very close friend of mine and someone who has, well, in a lot of ways, sort of ignited sort of where my musical career is at the moment, since, being at uni and stuff. So without any further ado, Mythic, Dean, tell everyone a bit about yourself, mate, and start us off.
Cool, man. Thanks for that introduction there, man. My name's Mythic. I'm a hip-hop artist in Melbourne. Been rapping for almost 10 years, and I met Bailey a few years ago when we were both studying at university.
We all have, I have my stories and yarns from Col Arts and things, but tell me from your side of things, what was uni for you? What was the interest with Col Arts? Tell me a bit about your side of the uni story.
Yeah, for sure. Man, I suppose I just went to uni because I was like, all I can do is rap, and I need to know a bit more about like the music side of things to be able to, have skills in this industry and be confident and all that. So that was my approach, like my reasons as to why I went. It pretty quickly became like clear to me that like I wasn't becoming like a full sound engineer or a full music producer or anything like that was never really going to be the thing that I wanted to do. So like I was there to just add to my skills, upskill and network and meet some cool people, which I did. So yeah, man, that was probably like mostly my side of it.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we had many a discussion from an early stage, realizing that there were a lot of bedroom producers that perhaps were never going to go anywhere and still probably haven't gone anywhere. And I know we just sort of galvanized a bit of a, I see that he's doing stuff and I wonder what he's up to and things like that. And we clicked instantly from that. That was clear as day. And I suppose from my point of view, when I saw that you were making moves and the rap shows were starting, which was something I hadn't really been a part of in my scene. I just been doing pop punk and a bit of basic stuff in high school. I was like, you're doing something new. And unashamedly, I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to find a way to be a part of that. And like taking from that Bliss and SO show and going, hey, do you want to do our own version of that? Like from my point of view, I was like, sweet, let's hope he takes it on board. But from your point of view, what was it sort of like? Like when I came to you and we decided about the idea, what was your sort of spin on the whole idea?
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, I absolutely loved it, man. Because as you just brought up, then like Bliss and SO were a massive influence for me. So to see them do it with DK Drums, who you did an awesome interview with last time, shout out season 1.
Yeah, big up DK, shout out.
It was incredible, man. Because like that's what makes it really. You know what I mean? Like if you go to a live show with a bunch of hip hop artists, and like say 4 out of 5 of them don't have a drummer, and then the 5th does, it's just a whole nother layer of awesomeness. Like you can really tell like the energy that gets output from the show when you add a drummer to the hip hop band and the hip hop circuit. So I always thought it was mad special, bro, and I always thought it was something that like more rappers need to be doing. So I was awesome, like mad excited to have you on board for that 100%. So was Neil. He was like, yeah, man, let's do this for sure.
Yeah, and Neil was Neil and the whole Jets side of things was such a big part of the whole project, and that was awesome and invaluable. And when I went down in 2019 and we did that epic EP launch for Storm, like that whole project sort of epitomized everything that I was like thought was right with the industry and the potential that local hip hop had, especially down south. With Neil and all that, tell me a little bit about Neil and Jets and sort of how that all kicked off from sort of early back.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So that's like a whole story like in its own, but I'll give you sort of like the quicker version. Probably like 2017 more like. I started there as a participant, just going to the new hip hop program, which was what Neil was in charge of. And then fast forward 2 years, they hired me as a youth outreach worker to do the youth work stuff and to help run the program. I recruited Neil to DJ for me because at that point he was, my co-worker, not just, like a mentor at the place that I went to do my youth work thing. So yeah, he agreed to come on board as my live DJ. And then, from there we ran the program together and we built our own live show. He's been integral in the whole thing, like me being a performer and building up my own skills and getting you on board and everything. So yeah, man.
For sure, and he's an incredible operator, and I go back to that couple of years back, and us just absolutely shredding it at the EP launch and stuff. There's definitely something about like a sound when everyone's doing their part and everyone knows what they're doing, and it's a credit to you both because it's a very strong sound.
Yeah, man, thanks. Yeah, definitely. And it's huge, massive credit to Neil, man. Like I make a lot of the creative decisions, obviously because it's my show, but in terms of like the technical decisions and how things are going to work, that's all Neil, man. Like I just so I want to do this and I want to do that, and he goes, all right, let me do the maths on that.
I'll make it happen with my magic fingers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And the magic fingers are often working very well with one Mr. Neil Darkside. Let's take a backpedal further back from 2017, from early 2000s, whatever. Music, where does that start for you? Was it always rapper? Were you always into that? Was that always your vibe, or was there always music in the house?
Yeah, man, always music in the house from like a young age. My dad would always play Michael Jackson. Mum and dad both loved ABBA. Celine Dion, I think, was to name more. Always playing in the house, man, on loud, everything, like always exposed to music from a young age. In terms of my own like interest or involvement in it, wanting to be a part of it. When I was a kid, man, I always used to find singers real cool. Like I always thought, like if I was gonna be a musician, I would love to be a singer. Like I just love the whole being in front of stage and like using your voice and that kind of thing. And then I suppose when I discovered that hip hop was an Australian thing as well, like it wasn't just your Eminems and your 50 Cents and that were doing it. Like we actually had like a scene in Australia. That's when I went, hold on a second. All right, I don't have to be American for one. Cool. Let me try my hand at that. Like I said, like almost 10 years ago now. So
it's interesting to think about like the Oz hip hop scene. Like from my point of view, I've always loved that Australian hip hop vibe because it's a bunch of local legends doing their thing, but also on the other side, it doesn't take itself too seriously. And I feel like I got lost a lot in high school with a bit disenfranchised with the idea of it just being a bunch of like posers taking themselves too seriously with big chains. And then you get to that Australian hip hop scene, and I was like, no. It's nothing like what you think. You want to come to a Mythic show, it's nothing like that. And I was actually talking about this with Erin the other day about the show and like reminiscing on the show we played, and I'm like, that's what hip hop is to me. It's the Bliss and Esso show. It's Seth Century, 360, Pez. It's that sort of thing. It doesn't take itself too seriously. Bit of a piss take, and it's enjoyable and it's more accessible for an audience. I think more approachable. You can see that person after the show, and what does that mean to you to be accessible as an artist?
Oh, it means the world, man. That's like a big part. Hearing Bliss from Bliss and Esso say, so the way he worded it was like, in American hip hop, it's kind of like the rappers here, and the rappers just balling and doing what a rapper does, right? Cliche stuff. And then the audience is here, and you just have to kind of, bridge the gap, whatever. But Aussie hip hop is more like this. It's like the artist is talking directly to the fans, and the whole community is one. So yeah, that means everything to me, man. Like a big part of why I got into it in the first place is to actually make an impact on people's lives and, build some kind of purpose into like my own life and what I wanted to do and how I wanted to serve my community. So to have people who might enjoy listening to my music feel like they can approach me and they can talk to me or message me or, be on that same level, yeah, it means the world.
Even just to relate to the stories, because these are stories. And I remember we've talked in depth about certain tracks and the stories are pretty cut and dry. It's pretty obvious. If you know anything about you, you'd know exactly where that comes from and stuff like that. But, stories and being able to tell stories and having someone at the other end really listen to that and be able to absorb that as an audience, that's pretty special.
Yeah, 100%, man. That's probably one of the most special things about Aussie hip-hop as a genre, I would say.
Tell me about where you're at now. Like, things have obviously been pretty obvious the way they are at the moment, but there's been definitely a bit of a shift in your direction, and passion comes into it, and passion's a big thing for me personally and for a lot of people that I feel like I can get together with more, because it's not just a hobby or it's not just a fad. You can feel people that are passionate and people that have got authenticity and all that, and that ticks all the boxes for you too. But tell me about passion and sort of where you're at now musically.
Yeah, okay, that's a big one as well. So like I've shifted a lot, like in the past sort of 6 months or so, or maybe not even, maybe like 3 to 4 months. I've made like hell of a lot of changes when it comes to where I'm at right now. So I suppose like to take it back to like before that, 4 months ago, taking it mad seriously, even though it's, it's the Oz hip hop thing of like, we can still take the piss a little bit, and it's like, it's not super serious rap, rah, rah, rah.
You're hustling without being full of shit.
Exactly.
That's the way I think it. Like, that's how I sort of define like Oz hip hop compared to American hip hop. It's like, so you got the American hip hop. Oz hip hop is just cool tunes, the same, but less prissy missy wankers.
Yeah, for sure.
We're all hustling.
Yeah. I would agree with that. So yeah, that's, like many musicians in Melbourne, in Australia are, just trying to make the best of it and take it as far as we can possibly take it, because we do have a lot of opportunities, surprisingly, as Australian musicians. And then I guess like from there, I guess I sort of realized like, like I'm letting a lot of personal things that I need to work on just slip, and like I'm focusing too much on the professional musician, as you want to call it, side of things, and not the, like I need to really include a lot of personal development in my journey, and like I need to watch, the habits that I develop and the mindsets and the perspectives in that. And like I sort of realized that, damn, like I've been letting that slip, and I haven't really done as much personal work as I should be doing. So I think that was maybe about 3 months ago now that I went, like I really need to make that a priority. So yeah,
you need to reset play a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So I reset a little bit, and like, not that I took a step back from the music at that point, but I just sort of readjusted my priorities, and I went, like working on myself is just as important as writing a song. Like, taking care of my physical fitness is equally as important as going to the studio. So I sort of realigned those things, and so I guess that took me to a different place in terms of where I was at with my music. It took me to a way better place, because not all of a sudden, take some hard work, but after that, I feel healthier. I feel like I have more energy. I feel like the fuel I have to put towards my passion is a lot greater. And then again, in the past week or so, I've made another major adjustment. So like, you saw what I posted on my Instagram the other day, that like I felt like my passion for it was being lost. So like, I love being in this community. I love being in this scene, in this world, in this genre, everything like that. But in terms of my own, like, so the passion for those kinds of things is always there, like regardless of whether I'm writing or recording or performing, I'm always watching, hip hop reaction videos, or listening to the latest album, or doing this and that. So the passion for the craft,
and hyping up other boys and girls in the scene and doing all that stuff. And like a large portion of how I know you is knowing you from being the hype guy, the guy that was doing everything at Jets and hyping up youth and young talent and stuff like that. So you don't just forget about that overnight. But I get what you mean, that you personally, maybe creativity, maybe you creating stuff right now isn't what it needs to be. Exactly,
yeah. So I sort of realized that there was a couple of cracks that would come up in that. So like, I wasn't enjoying writing so much, like performing is a big thing for me. So obviously the fact that I haven't been able to do that is maybe where some of the difference comes in the past few months. But yeah, I sort of just realized, all right, cool, like I'm lacking a lot of passion for that area, for wanting to write and wanting to record and wanting to make new songs. So let me take another step back. Let me realign again. Let me readjust. Let me refocus. So that's where I'm at right now, man. I'm just sort of looking at the other sort of creative things that I can do to fulfill this itch that we all have as creative entrepreneurs, if that's what you want to call us. And I've sort of got a few ideas. So maybe this is a good segue to the hoodie that you're wearing.
Yes, exactly. I was going to get there. So I'll just... So the new hoodies, everyone's heard in any facet of life or whatever, whether it's primary school or some motivational, sanitary pad. We've all heard the term "another drop in the ocean." Another drop in the ocean really does mean whether it can be from two different perspectives. It can be that whatever is affecting you right now, it's just another drop in the ocean. You got bigger things. Your life's worth more than that. There's going to be more things. Or it can mean that you're just a statistic. You're just another little drop in a big pool. You're just a small fish in a big pond. And perspective is obviously awesome, but with the hoodies, you've flipped that on its head literally. And tell me about another ocean in the drop.
Yeah, cool. So as you just said it, right, like ocean in the drop, not drop in the ocean. So like, I can't take credit for the idea. That's not an original idea that I had. It's from a book, and I'm going to pronounce this wrong. It's something like the Bhagavad, which is from India. I'm sure like if somebody knows the book, they'll know what I'm talking about. If not, go look it up because it's an amazing piece of work. But anyway, the monk who wrote that book, it's an idea that I took from him, right? So he's sort of the one that said it. You're not a drop in the ocean. You might be a drop in the ocean, but there's also an ocean in the drop. So like what it kind of means, like, so you explain the first half, which is drop in the ocean, right? So it's sort of like to say that it's just minuscule. It's just a statistic. You don't mean much. Your actions don't mean anything, right? But to flip that, right? It's now ocean in the drop. So it's basically the reverse of all that. So yeah, all that might be true, but everything you do has importance, and everything you do is gonna affect the next thing. You know, it's like a ripple, right? When everybody knows, right? When you drop a drop into a body of water, then there's a ripple effect. So that ripple effect is usually greater than what any of us think it's going to be. So that's sort of like the rough message around it. I haven't really refined the whole one-line explaining kind of thing. I'm going to need to come up with a one-liner to explain it when I put them up for sale.
That's okay. No, you've made it pretty clear. Like the idea of every if we're all a drop, inside us is an ocean. You know, if we're all one piece of the puzzle, we're made up of a puzzle ourselves. And without getting too meta, that's a pretty approachable, pretty acknowledgeable and accessible metaphor to sort of go by, to sort of take on board that, yes, maybe you don't have it the worst, or maybe you aren't at the top success, but think of all the things that have built you up to this. Or as I was saying on a pod episode the other day, having 150 views that are all average 30-second view of the podcast. Well, this podcast goes for 25 minutes, which means that that's not many people gave a shit. But if I had 11 people that watched it for 99% of the episode, it means 11 people watched it from the moment I introduced it to the moment I, said goodbye. That is 11 people that gave a shit. Perspective and turning things around, ever so important at the moment.
100%, man. Perspective is powerful, man. And like, if you're stuck in a negative perspective of yourself, which is, to tie this in, which is you're just a drop in the ocean, that's going to affect every other part of your life. But if you flip it and say, yo, but there's an ocean in this drop, then that all of a sudden everything you do means something. So I suppose that's, that might be the one-liner. So
I was going to say the one-liner seems to be perspective is power.
Right.
Fucking put that on a stubby holder. Woohoo! I'll buy that.
Yeah, cool, man.
But tell me actually more about the actual hoodie itself. These are available for purchasing, but more than just a monetary figure to, keep a young Muso afloat. What else is there? There's something else on there.
Yeah, so 50%, at this point, it's going to be 50% or more of the profit will go to Black Dog Institute, which is a suicide prevention organization. Yeah. But to be honest, man, like me and my manager are looking at making it like a little bit of a bigger thing. So this is the first time I've really spoken about it. And for those of you who don't know, because we haven't shown the back of the hoodie, it says Ocean in the Drop on the back of the hoodie. We should probably just point that out.
I'll have put a picture up at some point. I'll be putting it around now and it'll be dancing next to my face or something. So people will have seen it.
But yeah, we're looking at making it something a little bit bigger, man. So like we're looking at doing a Ocean in the Drop mixtape. And getting a whole bunch of different artists to contribute, and it's all going to be about mental health awareness, that kind of thing. And then we're going to try to get a sum of money together so that we can pay those artists for their work that contributes to the mixtape. And then the mixtape or whatever music we put together for it is going to be like the promotion for the clothing, which at the moment is just a hoodie. And then say if we can get some kind of money together, which in the form of a government grant, then we can pay ourselves a little bit out of that for the work that we've done. But if we do that, then it means I want to put 100% of the profit to Black Dog Institute. So that way it's almost like a small non-for-profit organization rather than just a run of clothes that has a charity part. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Sky's the limit for that. I love that. And I'd be the first one to be on board if and when that does come to play, because that sounds like a cranks. And you don't have to ask me twice to play drums for you.
Cool, man.
That's never something you'll have to ask twice for. So that sounds awesome. And are you happy for me to promote them and say, go get them?
For sure. Look, they're not on sale yet, but I mean, any promotion is appreciated, man. They're going to be on sale eventually, so yeah.
For now, these are a super comfy hood. I'm obviously sweating balls in it because I am in Queensland and I have the fan on 16 so that I can not sweat profusely and ruin my money maker. But this is a seriously comfy bit of kit. And yeah, definitely get one.
I'm on the other side, man. It's pretty cold in Melbourne, so I'm rocking your t-shirt. We haven't said anything about that.
Oh yes, okay, yeah, beautiful.
And beautiful. I'm cold, man. Very nice. I'm cold, but it's all for the cause. So.
It's all for the... Okay, sweet. Well, that is actually a stark irony. I cannot believe that. The fact that you brought out hoodies, I brought out tees, and you're shivering and I'm sweating. So it's perfect. It's what you do when you support local Muso. That's what it's all about, babe. That's what it's all about. To finish up, I just want to ask, where can the lovely people find you? Tell everyone about what you've got, like tell you about past releases, whatever. Give us a bit of a rundown on where the people can find you, where they can hear the Mythic sound, and yeah, go for it.
Sure. Spotify is probably the best place. That's where I usually like to send everyone. Got a couple of EPs on there, a couple of singles that they can listen to. But besides that, just go to my Instagram, which is mythicmusic_, and I've got a link tree on there. And if you click that link, that will take you to everything.
Awesome sauce. Beautiful. He's a man of the tech. He's a man who knows what he's after. And he's a very close friend of mine. So thanks for having a chat with me tonight, Dean. I very, very appreciate it. We decided to tee this up. We were trying as hard as we could. Didn't work for season 1, but man, oh boy, there's some things have happened and some moves are being made, as they always are with you. You can't keep your hands still. So thank you.
For sure, man. Thanks for having me. It's been great. And yeah, happy we finally teed it up, and happy that I can tell MKC that I've got an episode now, so he can stop teasing me about him having one and me not.
Yes. I love that. Yeah. Now MKC, he finally got his mention. He'll be happy.
Yeah.
But yeah, now the big dog MKC and now Mythic. Join the royalty of the Asking Muso guests. Well, that's another episode of the Asking Muso podcast. What a man, and I'm absolutely stoked that I got to finally cut the shit with him and just sort of open up about maybe the other side of the industry that people maybe aren't talking about as much at the moment. So once again, YouTube, every Tuesday, that's the place you're going to find these. Doing the reels, doing the snippets. Had so much awesome feedback from everyone of all the episodes we've done of late, and it's been an absolute ball. So don't miss the rest of season 2. There's still more coming. Catch up on all the episodes you've missed out on if you're a silly galah and have missed any. And until next week, I'll see you later.